uproar from Germany's Angela Merkel's statement. She used to be the Chancellor of Germany, as we know. Russia says its admission of the Minsk agreement raises special courts. The Minsk agreements were theater. We gave time to Ukraine. Maria Zakharova, spokeswoman for the Russian Foreign Ministry, said former Chancellor Angela Merkel's words in an interview with Die Zeit that the Minsk agreements were signed to give the Ukrainian side time to gain could well be used to launch special courts. And she said, what Merkel said in her interview is a testimony of a person who directly stated that everything that happened in 2014-15 had one goal, and that was to distract the attention of the world community from real problems, to buy time, to fill the Kiev regime weapons and lead the situation to a major conflict. According to Zakharova, the confession of Germany's ex-chancellor Angela Merkel sounds terrible. She was actually confessing truths. So, like counterfeiting as a method of operation in the West, like machinations, manipulations, every kind of distortion of the truth that you can imagine. And she emphasized the representatives of the West already knew then, in 2015, when they had negotiated for many hours, that they would never implement the agreements, but that they would channel weapons to the Kiev regime. They did not feel sorry for the women, nor for the children, nor for the civilian population of Donbass and in Ukraine in general. They needed a clash and have been ready for it since 2015. But as I'm reading this article, I'm wondering why Angela Merkel went out and spout this thing. Didn't she know that there would be consequences? Now, I know for a fact that whenever Putin was meeting with her, Putin would speak to her in German because he was educated in Germany. So he's fluent in German, and they spoke together without interpreters in German. So what is going on here? Maria Zakharova commented on Angela's interview on the Telegram channel yesterday. They needed a clash and have been ready for it since 2015. She quoted Merkel from the Zeit interview, in which the former chancellor said that the 2014 Minsk agreement was an attempt to buy time for Ukraine. Merkel also added that she doubted that NATO countries could have done as much then as they are doing now to help Ukraine. Zakharova wrote, that is Berlin, and consequently the entire collective West did not comply with the Minsk agreements, pretending to comply with the Security Council resolution, but instead, in fact, supported the Kiev regime with weapons. The West ignored all of Kiev's crimes in the Donbass and Ukraine in the name of a decisive blow against Russia. In the interview with the newspaper Die Zeit, published on December 7th this year, Merkel had said verbatim, the Minsk agreement of 2014 was an attempt to give Ukraine time. It was clear to all of us that it was a frozen conflict, that the problem had not been resolved, but that gave Ukraine precious time. The Ukraine of 2014-15 has nothing to do with today's Ukraine, end quote. Merkel argued, speaking to the German newspaper Die Zeit, expressing doubt as to whether the NATO member states would have been able to support Ukraine to the extent that they are doing so today. In the events of 2014, Merkel was Chancellor of Germany, while she was one of the main protagonists in the formation of the Minsk agreements aimed at dealing with the conflicts in Donbass. So in other words, she signed something that she knew she was not going to keep. This is by War News 247. I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.